Hello, and this is Chase Morrison back again with the sixth edition of our series on creating financial dashboards. In this one, we're going to expand our dashboard using our one little prototype that we created or finished creating in the last video. So we're going to create 11 charts in our dashboard here. So here are the 11 charts we're going to create. So the one that we created initially was the revenue or sales graph. So that one is completed. And then the other ones here listed. So we're going to do one on gross profit. So basically gross profit is just taking revenue minus cost of sales. We're going to do gross margin, which is a percentage that's taking gross profit and dividing it by revenue. We're going to do a chart on operating profit. So operating profit is basically taking gross profit and subtracting operating expenses. So what are operating expenses? They're basically G&A costs. So sales, distribution, marketing, administration, those types of costs are typically operating costs. So then you have operating margin, which again is like gross margin. It's just operating profit divided by sales. And it's an important number because basically it's trying to indicate, given your business model, just what is the profitability of your business model. The next one is net income. So that's basically taking operating profit and subtracting any other income and expenses and taxes to get to the final bottom line or net income of the business. Typically, other income and expense items are things that are not really germane to the business. So for example, if a business had surplus space and they decided to sublet some of their facility to another business, that income would go in the other income section of the P&L because renting space is probably not part of that business's business model, but it does need to be recorded someplace. So that's net income. Return on sales is just net income divided by revenue. We're going to do a graph on accounts receivable and days sales outstanding. I'll talk more about that in a later video and how you compute days sales outstanding. Same on inventory. We'll talk more about how you calculate days of inventory on hand, but both of those are important metrics that tell you how efficiently you're deploying your working capital on accounts receivable and inventory. And then equity and leverage ratio or debt to equity is the same thing as the leverage ratio. More on that later, but these are important numbers for bankers and investors that want to know how you're using your resources within the business. And then finally, the most important one, which is cash flow. And we'll talk a little bit about cash flow. Now, this is not meant to be a tutorial or a video series on accounting theory, so I'm going to do another video later that has some of the basics on accounting that business owners should know. So that's kind of about it. So let's move over to Excel. So as you recall, here is our graph. And this is where we left it as of the end of the fifth video. And there is one little change I'd like to make on here that needs to be added. We need to add some y-axis data labels on here. So I'm going to shrink this down a little bit so I get a little more room to put in the labels. And then I'm going to go up here and add a chart element. So I want the axes titles. So the one that goes on the left is a primary vertical axis. So let's put that in. And you can't really see it right now, but change the font color to white and increase the size of it a little bit. And then this is year-to-date revenue. Let's make it a little bit. All right, so there's our primary y-axis, and now let's go ahead and create our secondary y-axis label. So our secondary y-axis is all right, and then I'm just again going to change the format of that. I'm going to make the color white, make it 16 points. All right, so now we have our basic chart finished. And as I click on this, you can kind of see over here that it knows that it's looking for the different series names here in this section of the page. I'm basically going to copy this a number of times, and I'm just going to size it to fit in the space that I want it to fit here. So I don't know if you recall, but when we created this graph, I put in this little small column in the middle. So I kind of want all my graphs to fit within this area. All right, so you notice that my graph is kind of a little crunched here. So I notice I need to shrink this down a little bit more to make a little bit more room for my y-axis titles. Probably not that much. Anyways, these will need to be tweaked kind of chart by chart, but you get the general idea. So notice here I've set up the printing and I have kind of a small border on both sides so that I can kind of see where I'm working to, and I can kind of make sure that I have this right to the left, right where I want it. So I can move this up and see how I'm doing relative to the column lines to make sure that this is fitting. I can kind of expand it a little so it's a little easier to see. All right, so you kind of get the idea that it's now within these cell spaces. And now that I have it sized correctly, now I can just go and copy it. And then if I go to the top left cell where I want the next one, I just copy that in and copy that and copy that. So I'm not going to go through and do all 11 while you're sitting here, but I just wanted you to see that I can start to expand this graph pretty quickly by copying and pasting the graph itself, and then it carries over all the formatting. So it looks like these numbers here, though, are going to be getting a little too big, so I probably need to shrink these down some, make those smaller, make these smaller. So you'll have to tweak some things around to make it fit, but I did want to kind of go through with how you want to remap each one of these, and so you have to do it data series by data series. Starting here with this blue bar, you can kind of see, hopefully you can see up here that it's looking for the y or the x-axis labels here at this row. So we don't want to mess with that because we want all of the charts to be looking at this row. But basically you have to make two moves for each one of these. So you have to move the series title legend, and then the data is right here. Then you just move each one down. So now that moved down the total year gross profit, and now I can do the monthly plan, or I should say the monthly actual. So there's the monthly actual. I'll do the monthly plan. And don't worry about this changing of the colors. I'll deal with that in a minute. So here's the year-to-date actual. So I'm going to bring it down here for the year-to-date actual. Then here is the year-to-date plan. And then here is the prior year monthly. Sorry, I'm putting that on the wrong place. Here is the prior year monthly. All right, so now we've moved all of our rows. Here's the annual, so you can see it's the total year. Here is the monthly actual, so it's over here, monthly actual. Click on the monthly plan. There's the monthly plan. We know that this is the year-to-date actual, so you can see it there. This is the prior year actual. Or I should say this is the year-to-date plan, sorry, and then this is the prior year actual. All right, so then the way that we fix all the formatting changes is, so you come over here, hit Control-C, and then you come over here and hit Paste Special. And we just want to paste the formats, nothing else. And voila, then we have our formats all put in here. So there's going to be some tweaking here that needs to be changed, but you get the idea. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make these few changes to this format here and fill out all the charts except for the receivables, inventory, and equity. That'll be part of the next video. All right, thanks. We hope you found this helpful. Please subscribe and comment down below to help us improve our content. Feel free to visit our website to learn more about our services at profitwyse.com, and have a great day. Bye.